We're live.
Yay.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Maya.
Hello, Facebook land, access consciousness.
So, Maya and I, last week, well, we've been doing some lives, and they've been lives about Gary. And Gary has been creating a lot lately and doing a bunch more telecalls and more classes and all kinds of things, which I think everybody is really excited about in Access. And Maya and I wanted to get together today to talk about some of the crazy, amazing, life changing things that Gary has said to us, worked with us with, helped us with, and also to tie it into how can your life change from consciousness and through consciousness, and what do you really want to have, and where can you get it? So, I'm so glad that you're here, Maya. Maya and I talk like every single day, so it's funny to have a public forum for our conversations in consciousness, because
Yay.
we have conversations in consciousness together every single day, and they are absolutely wonderful. So now we're going to have a public one.
Yeah. And I think both me and Julia are like uber access nerds. Like I've been reading Gary's words for like 9 years straight, and Julia probably, I don't know how many years straight, like
A lot of years straight.
with no breaks in the middle.
Exactly. And it's
Um,
like, it's just so cool. Like, I like Access because, and I also like how Access has spread too, because it's all result driven. Like somebody gets a change and then they like tell their friend, and then something, that person gets a change and they tell their friend, because there's just Access is so result driven. And when I like do all that reading and all the conversations you and I have and all the classes I take and everything I do, I just I keep doing it because I get such good results in my life. I get better, I get healthier, I get happier, I get my relationships get better. I just become a more full being and more of myself, and it's just like, where do you get that in the world? It's a fantastic commodity.
Another, I guess, amazing thing is that you sit in your little town, no matter where you are in the world, and you're reading about this guy that says all it takes is you choose. And you like, I don't know, I guess some connection of curiosity is made then and there for a lot of us, at least, because it's like, who is this person like that created this amazing thing that you can't explain, you can't necessarily even say what you went through after you go to a bars class or a foundation class to your friends and family, like you have no idea what's going on. But I definitely remember this, like, who are these people? Like,
Oh,
who
so
is this
true.
Gary Douglas?
So true. I remember I came back to work at the golf course from my first foundation class when I was working summers at the golf course. And I said to the owner of the golf course, she was my friend and she was into alternative stuff. And her husband owned it, and they were kind of offbeat characters. And I said, I went to this course and it basically erased my mind and erased my past. And I just loved it. And she like looked horrified, like, what? And I was like, okay, I'm different even than the alternative people. She was like, I don't think I want that. And I'm like, oh, but it was so good. And I feel so good now.
Yeah. And I don't know why, but I'm just going, like, what's pinging is all kinds of first encounters with Gary, I guess.
Yeah.
So next step was like finding the really old interview or older interviews on YouTube, for instance. Like he spoke to this guy named Michael about money, and Michael's eyes would pop every time Gary would say something amazing. And like, and they were both so happy. And I mean, I grew up in the Middle East. Nobody was happy and nobody was talking about money like that. So I was just like, what is this stuff? Like, and this is all consciousness based. There are no drugs involved in the process. It was amazing. It was like really just this, like, this being who chose to do something and be something different with almost every topic that we have learned the normal way to deal with.
That is a good way of putting it. Like, my relationship with my body has been changing and changing and changing and stuck and changing and what he has always just taught me is like your body knows and you need to ask it what it wants and listen to that. It's sort of like you were saying, like, all these people are out in the world sitting in their homes, their living rooms, and it's like, what's true for you. You are the creator of everything that shows up in your life. And, the same for bodies. And that was a weird thing for me. It's like, there's no program, there's no diet, there's no system, there's no whatever. And it's like,
And
and
even if a system is going well for like 3 weeks, damn it, you have to ask another question.
exactly. It's very annoying. You should be very on the ball. But no, it's just such a wonderful,
And
such
that's
a
another thing. Like, there's this interesting thing with coming to meet Gary, whether it's in a live class or a telecall. Like, you want the great wisdom, and there's so much to receive from him, right? It's not that it's not that, but you're also not getting, like, you get a lot of like, what do you know? What are you aware of here? What is your question? Like, um, the way you're involved in your process of change is like nowhere, no other system that I know or modality on the
yeah,
planet.
that's so true. Hey. Yeah, it's like we want the answer from the great wizard, and the great wizard is like, the answer is within you, Luke.
And I mean, he has so much as well that he's willing to teach us. Like, there's a lot of conversation around, no one taught us how to be on this planet, like, not in a, as you said, like an effective way which creates the results you desire, let's say. A lot of there's a lot of coping mechanisms to be here, and then there's like this magnanimous world of like consciousness that just gives you everything you desire, but it doesn't come in the way that you were taught. So it's just this like allowing yourself to let go of everything in order to step into what Gary has to offer, basically.
Totally. It's a weird world. When I came to Access, I was a feral child in a lot of ways. And it's like, it's been so fun to learn. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like you see these things in the world and you want it, but you don't exactly know how to get there. And most people don't ever get there because there's no way to get there. But Access somehow does teach you how to get where you want to go in life. But yeah, just like down a totally different avenue from a totally different angle in a totally different way. You're like, this is what I wanted, but how did I get here from there? It's really bizarre. And
And
it's
you
really
have been having conversations with Gary for how many years?
Gary gave me his phone number in 2012, so 13 years. And I've made a lot of calls to Gary over the years. some some periods, multiple times a week. And he is, I always sort of waited for him to say, "You are so stupid. You are so dumb. Don't ever call me ever again." But it has never happened. And it's like, I've been in a really amazing situation because I've been able to bounce situations in my life off of him and then handle them and manage them in really, really powerful ways. And the things that, like, I'll put a situation to him and he will ask me questions, give me education, give me information, turn the whole situation on its head, take all the significance out of it, and then sort of put me on my way. And I'm like, What did he
And
just
worst
say?
of all, he won't judge you at all in the process.
Maya, I don't know how it's possible, but what you're saying is true. He won't judge you at all in the process. And I just couldn't believe it. And but some of the things that he's helped me handle are like unbelievable. And things that, I started doing Access in 2011. So I guess that's 14 years ago, and really hanging around Gary a year after that. And I really, so 13, 14 years later, I'm so appreciating, enjoying, and living with the benefits of what I laid then, you know? And the conversations that we had then, and the conversations that we had 7 years ago, and the facilitation he gave me 5 years ago, and the questions that he asked me 2 years ago, and the conversation that we had on the phone, last week or whatever. And it's like, it's such an endless gift in my universe because he speaks into my world and into my being farther than I know myself. Like, I do know myself and I'm getting to know myself, but he said one time, he's like, if you guys were a tree, you know, a lot of you only see like a couple of your leaves. And he's like, I see the whole tree, the root
Mm.
system, how it connects to the other trees, everything. And he's trying to teach us to see us as the whole tree, the root system, how we connect to the other trees, how we connect to the universe. And it's like, I've really gotten that from him, and but like I've gone from like, can you please help me with my little leaf? I fear my little leaf is drying out and going to fall off. And he's like, he gives me a tool or he gives me a question, and then I start to see, my branch, and I'm like, whoa, I have a whole branch? I can't believe I have a whole branch. I've lived my whole life just thinking I was these few leaves, but I have a branch, and it's like I get more and more of what I am based on him acknowledging me, and like you say, not judging me. Because I could talk to somebody else about the same situation, but they would have some judgment of it. And so it just wouldn't work the same. And I think that's why it's so important for all of us to lose as much judgment as we can, as fast as we can, so that we can be this in the world too.
Mm.
We have to pass on what we are given, whatever we're given. And not everybody is talking to Gary all the time, but like I see people on telecalls asking him questions and receiving from him and learning from him. And I've gotten so much from him, and like I want to give back, and the only way I know to give back is to become as much an allowance as I can, so I can be this for other people.
I love that he'll talk to someone on a telecall and not necessarily someone that he knows, like Julia, like a person that maybe asked him a question, maybe never asked him a question. And then he starts telling a random story. Like recently, it was like he started talking about how his son-in-law stomps very loudly downstairs. And she was like, I walk like that. Like there's nothing random about his choice of words and the awareness that it brings you to. Like it's magic. So you also get to enjoy that magic if you bring yourself on camera and to ask him a question. Like you don't need to know him for 13 years for him to like see your whole tree and just blow
So
your universe apart, which is
totally. He
so
sees your
amazing.
tree if he just met you on that little Zoom screen that day.
That's it.
That's right. That's right. Oh my God. I mean, what are some of your favorite things that he's
Oh my
spoken
goodness.
into your world about?
Uh, I think that the how real Gary is was something that like
Yeah.
blew me away. Like probably one of the first telecalls I purchased was about parenting. I was a young parent, and I mean, I still have kids that are pretty young, and that was most of my world at the time. And he described how this kid was in his house, and he was just like breaking like antiques and just, being a total shit. And he was like, listen, he was willing to be this energy with him that is so controversial per se, but it's actually that education of like how to be in the world. Like instead of saying, oh, sweetie, we have such a intense world now of gentle parenting, which actually doesn't work. Like it leaves kids being total assholes to adults and to in other households and all that. Like there's just,
Totally.
so I was like, whoa, you can talk like that. It just blew me away, and I probably used it on kids ever since. In like, and it goes both ways. Like if there's this amazing kid in front of you, you can be like, I see you, and like, how can I contribute to you? It's like it doesn't work this way or the other way, but it's like this willingness to be with what is and be real about it, and not like, I don't know, either use words around it or like not confront a situation where it actually needs confrontation, like just being this intense being in the world, basically.
Totally. I like that what he's teaching us is how to be in all these situations. Like it's cool going into the world and being around other people cuz like I'm like I know how to handle everything and most people don't know how to handle a lot. It's like I like being this competent, It's nice. I really like being competent and I like striving for more competence because it's wonderful to be able to handle things in a way that's going to work and like, is honoring of others, is never like pushing your points of view in other people's faces or needing to be right or needing to win an argument or, you know, um I had a
Even
family
teaching
member
people
who
to say, I'm so sorry, how can I make up for the damage done? Like that's revolutionary. And it
yeah.
sounds stupid, but it's
I've
like,
had to apologize to so many people over the years, and it's wonderful because
yeah.
it's like where there would have been friction for the rest of my life with that person, or like, you know what I mean? It's like then you just have this wonderful relationship with them, this communion. I mean, I had a family member almost get hit by a bus and I stopped it from happening because I knew how to handle the situation and how to be the right energy to make sure that that wasn't going to happen. And it's like we we need to be this clarity and we need to be this allowance and we need to be this competence and we need to be this confidence and presence in order to really, you know, have the life that we want to have. And it's going to be totally different for each of us. But there is an education out there for it, which is really cool. I really wanted that education my whole life until I stumbled upon it.
Yeah. He's our mama and our papa that we
I know.
well, that we had, but with super uber mega tools of consciousness.
Totally. No judgment of us at all and mega tools.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks, Maya. It's just
Thank
nice to
you.
chat. And it's amazing. Um, it's just amazing what the the piece, and I can see some of the comments of those of you listening, and I know a whole lot of people have received this magic and are willing to appreciate this magic. And I think a whole lot of people also don't appreciate the magic and don't want the magic and avoid the magic and that's okay too, It's like everybody can kind of pick whatever they want from the buffet and I just think it's the most beautiful thing that there's just such a peaceful space where anybody can choose whatever they want. So, and Gary has a whole lot of telecalls coming up. He's doing one about are you on the struggle bus with your body or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't have it here in front of me, but and then there's one right away about your point of view.
Well, we were talking about pragmatics, like being a pragmatic person in the world. So I would say the body and the business telecalls definitely go into that category of just like making these things work in your life in a totally different way than you thought it is. And then he has the magical Gary has a whole universe of education about abuse that you can find on access.me or in the Access Consciousness shop, but also next week he and his daughter Grace Douglas are going to do a three-part call about abuse. And again, they have just such a different point of view and a way that opens up all the abuse you went through this lifetime, which is a very interesting topic in itself to talk about for 30 minutes an hour. But it's like, yeah, a lot of us released tons of abuse from our bodies, from our beings, through the tools that Gary and Grace bring to the world. So that's going to be very magical as well. And then there's one that's called How Your Point of View Creates Your Reality, which is
your future. How's your point of view creating your future?
Your future, which is, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that Gary Douglas taught us is how to create our future and more, and everything that we don't even know yet, which is the amazing part. Like, as Julia said, like 13 years later, still learning every day. Like, there's so much more to learn, which is also such a gift.
I know. I love constantly being able to learn. I don't know how anybody stops learning because it's so exciting to learn new things all the time. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. And thank you, Maya the papaya, for
Thank you.
me about Gary. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.